Hello everyone, it's Mr. Booker, and today is Friday, and I'm really excited about reading the last few pages of A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer, One Child's Courage to Survive. Now, before we get to the reading, you could either put your electronic device on pause, or you can bring it along with you to the sink, grab some soap, and turn on the faucet, because I'm going to lean over here to my right, and we can wash our hands together while we sing A, B, C. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Okay, now we're going to get to the book. The last few pages. So everyone, if you have your book, turn to page 151, the last paragraph. And we're going to finish this entire book today. The drive back to Daly City was solemn. When my brothers spoke, they did so in soft tones that wouldn't upset Mother. When we reached the city limits, Mother tried to humor her boys by treating them to McDonald's. As usual, I sat in the car while they went inside. I looked out the open car window at the sky. A dull gray blanket covered everything, and I could feel the cold droplets of fog on my face. As I stared into the fog, I became terrified. I knew nothing could stop Mother now. What little hope I had was gone. I no longer had the will to carry on. I felt as if I were a man on death row, not knowing when my time would come. I wanted to bolt from the car, but I was too scared to even move an inch. For this weakness, I hated myself. Rather than running, I clutched the package Father had given me and smelled it, trying to pick it up a scent of Father's cologne. When I failed to pick up any odor at all, I let out a sobbing cry. At that instant, I hated God more than anything else in this or any other world. God had known my struggles for years, but he had stood by watching as things went from bad to worse. He wouldn't even grant me a trace of Father's Old Spice aftershave. God had completely taken away my greatest hope. Inside, I cursed his name, wishing I had never been born. Outside, I could hear the sounds of Mother and boys approaching the car. I quickly wiped my tears and returned to the inner safety of my hardened shell. As Mother drove out of the McDonald's parking lot, she glanced back at me and sneered, "You are all mine now. Too bad your father's not here to protect you." I knew all my defenses were useless. I wasn't going to survive. I knew she was going to kill me, if not today, tomorrow. The day I wished Mother would have mercy and kill me quickly. As my brothers wolfed down their hamburgers without them knowing, I collapsed on my hands together, bent my head down, closed my eyes, and prayed with all my heart. When the station wagon turned onto the driveway, I felt that my time had come. Before I opened the car door, I bowed my head, and with peace in my heart, I whispered, "And deliver me from evil. Amen." See, now David, we're moving into what happened in Sonoma County, California. He said, "I'm so alive as I stand facing the beauty of the never-ending Pacific Ocean. A late afternoon breeze blows down from the hills behind. As always, it is a beautiful day. The sun is making its final descent. The magic is about to begin. The skies are ready to burn with brilliance as it turns from a soft blue to a bright orange. Looking towards the west, I stare in awe at the hypnotic power of the waves. A giant curl begins to take form, then breaks with a thundering clap as it crashes on the shore. An invisible mist hits my face moments before the white foamy water nearly drowns my feet. The bubbling foam quickly recedes to the power of the surf. Suddenly, a piece of driftwood washes into the shore. It has an odd, twisted shape. The wood is pitted, yet smooth and bleached from its time in the sun. I bend down to pick it up as my fingers begin to reach out. The water catches hold, dragging the wood back out to the sea. For a moment, it looks as if the wood is struggling to stay ashore. It leaves a trail behind before reaching the waters, where it bobs violently before giving into the ocean. I marvel at the wood, thinking how it reminds me of my former life. My beginning was extremely turbulent, being pushed and pulled in every direction. The more grisly my situation became, the more I felt as if some immense power was sucking into some giant undertone. I fought as hard as I could, but the cycle never seemed to end, until suddenly, without warning, I broke free. I'm so lucky. My dark past is behind me now. As bad as it was, I knew even back then, in the final analysis, my way of life would be up to me. I made a promise to myself that if I came out of my situation alive, I had to make something of myself. I would be the best person that I could be. Today I am. I made sure I let go of my past, accepting the fact that that part of my life was only a small fraction of my life. I knew the black hole was out of there, waiting to suck me in and forever control my destiny. But only if I let it in. I took positive control over my life. I'm so blessed. The challenges of my past have made me immensely strong inside. I adapted quickly, learning how to survive from a bad situation. I learned the secret of internal motivation. My experience gave me a different outlook on life that others may never know. I have a vast appreciation for things that others may take for granted. Along the way, I made a few mistakes, but I was fortunate enough to bounce back. Instead of dwelling on the past, I maintained the same focus that I taught myself years ago in the garage, knowing the good Lord was always over my shoulder, giving me quiet encouragement and strength when I needed it most. My blessings also mean having the opportunity to meet so many people who had the positive impact on my life. The endless sea of faces prodding me, teaching me to make the right choices, and helping me in the quest for success. They encouraged my hunger to prevail, branching out in different level. I enlisted in the United States Air Force, discovering historical values and instilled a sense of pride and belonging that until then I had never known. After years of struggle, my purpose became clear. For above all, I came to realize that America was truly the land where one could come from less than humble beginnings to become a winner from within. An explosive pounding of the surf brings me back to reality. The piece of wood I've been watching disappears into the swirling waters. Without further hesitation, I quickly turn away and head back towards my truck. Moments later, I race my Toyota through the snake-like turns, driving to my secret utopia. Years ago, when I lived in the dark, I used to dream about my secret place. Now, whenever I can get away, I always return to the river. After stopping to pick up my precious cargo at the Rio Villa in nearby Monterrey, I'm back on the single-lane blacktop. For me, it is a race against time, for the sun is about to set, and one of my lifetime dreams is about to come true. As I enter the serene city of Grenavilla, the Forerunner truck goes from Mach-like speed to that of a snail. I tap on the brakes before turning right onto Riverside Drive. With the windows rolled down, I fill my lungs full of sweet, purified air from the towering redwoods that gently sway back and forth. I bring the white Toyota to a stop in front of the same home where a lifetime ago my family and I stayed during our summer vacation. 17426 Riverside Drive. Like many things, the house too has changed. Years ago, tiny bedrooms were added behind the fireplace. A vague attempt of expanding the tiny kitchen was made before the flood of 1986. Even the mighty tree stump, where years ago my brothers and I spent endless hours climbing on, is now in decay. Only the cabin's darkened cedar ceiling and the river stone fireplace have been left unchanged. I feel a little sad as I turn away, strolling across the small gravel road, then making sure not to disturb anyone. I lead my son Stephen through a tiny passage beside the same house that my parents let my brothers and me through years ago. I know the owner and I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Without saying a word, my son and I gaze westward. The Russian River is the same as it always was, dark green and as smooth as glass, as it flows ever so gently to the mighty Pacific. Blue jays call to each other as they glide through the air before disappearing into the redwoods. The sky above is now bathed with streaks of orange and blue. I take another deep breath and close my eyes, savoring the moment like I did years ago. As I open my eyes, a single tear rolls down the side of my cheek. I kneel down, wrapping my arms around Stephen's shoulders. Without hesitation, he leans his head back and gives me a kiss. Love you, Dad. Love you too, I reply. My son gazes upon a darkening sky. His eyes grow as he strains to capture the disappearing sun. This is my favorite place in the whole world, Stephen announces. My throat becomes tight. A small stream of tears begin to fall. Mine too, I reply. Mine too. Stephen is at that magical age of innocence, but yet is wise beyond his years. Even now, as salty tears run down my face, Stephen smiles, letting me maintain my dignity. But he knows why I'm crying. Stephen knows my tears are tears of joy. Love you, Dad. Love you too, son. I'm free. Dave Pelzer is now free, and as you see at the end of the book, he's with his son now. He's older, he made it through the Air Force, he's a writer, and he's sharing his child's story with you all. So, writing allows us to escape, and writing allows us to also help others. So sharing your story, sharing things that you have gone through, and maybe you can write today just something about maybe being in the house and what are you doing around the house, helping your family out, or if you go outside and you're playing, just write a paragraph or an essay about how it feels or what you're dealing with. But I hope that you have a good day, enjoy your weekend, and I want to thank you all for joining me and reading A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer, One Child's Courage to Survive. Have an awesome day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.